Morning students, welcome back to the science class. In the last class, we had discussed about the topics like abiotic components, and in the abiotic components, we had discussed about water, which includes again the topic called as the rainwater harvesting, air, light, and soil. So all these were the components which we had discussed under the main topic called as abiotic components. Means all these components do not have life, but they directly or indirectly affect our environment. Means they affect the living organisms. So all these were the topics which we had discussed in the last session. Now what are the topics that we are going to discuss in the today's session? Now let us have a look on the topics that we are going to discuss now. These are the topics that we are going to discuss. They are abiotic components, which include the temperature. In the last class, I had missed the topic called as temperature, as it was a lengthier part. And today I'll be continuing with the topic that is temperature in the abiotic components. And apart from that, we are going to discuss about interaction in the environment. That is how the biotic components and abiotic components involve in the environment. And the last one, food chain and its types. What is food chain and what are the different types of the food chain? All these are the topics that we are going to discuss in our today's session. So let us start our today's session then. The first topic that it includes the abiotic components, temperature. We already know that the instrument which is used to measure the temperature, it is called as thermometer. Then what does temperature refer to? Temperature, it refers to the hotness or coldness of the body. We usually say that coffee is hot or the tea is hot, but we don't know how much hot it is. So in order to check that, we are using that instrument called as temperature. Similarly, when a person is suffering from fever, the body temperature will be high, but we do not know how much the temperature is. So in order to calculate all these kinds of temperatures or to note down the temperature, we usually use the instrument that is thermometer. But how does this temperature affect the living organisms which are present? The temperature affects the various activities of the living organisms, and it also helps in the distribution of plants and animals on the surface of the earth. With regarding to the plants like cacti, dates and palm plants, they can be only grown in the desert region where the temperature is high. And the plants like neem, mango, they require the normal or the moderate temperature. Similarly, there are different kinds of animals which are present around us. The animals like polar bears, penguins can survive only in the places where the temperature is very much low. Then what are the examples for the animals which can survive in the high temperature? Yes, the animals like camels, all they can survive in the high temperature, and even tigers and elephants also require the warm temperature. Means they do not require cold or the high temperature, they require the moderate amount of the temperature. But when we come across buffaloes and all, buffaloes can be seen in the ponds during the summer season. They are actually black in color, and when the color is black, it starts to absorb more amount of the heat or the radiation which is present around us. That is, the sun's rays automatically start to absorb with the help of the black color. So the color of the buffaloes are actually black, means the body temperature starts to increase. And apart from that, they do not have effective sweat glands. Sweat glands means the glands which produce the sweat. Buffaloes do not have the effective sweat glands, means proper sweat glands. In order to cool their body temperature, means whatever the temperature has been increased due to the absorption of the radiations by the sun, it has to cool it down. So what it will do then? To decrease the temperature, the buffaloes cool their bodies in the pools or the ponds which are present nearer to them. In this way, buffaloes can cool their body. They do not have the sweat glands, means they do not have the effective sweat glands. If the sweat glands are present, the whatever heat is absorbed by the body automatically starts to cool itself by producing the sweat. So in this way, the buffaloes can cool themselves in the summer season. And the next question is, how can the camels survive in the desert region? Yes, camels also do not have the sweat glands, but how can they survive here? Camels can survive in the desert region as they do not have the sweat glands. See here in the buffaloes, I had said that there are no effective sweat glands, so they dump their body in the water bodies. So here, but I am telling here, camels do not have the sweat glands. It means that they do not lose the water from their body here. If sweat glands are more, the water which is present in the body automatically it starts to vaporize and it comes out of the body. So camels do not have the sweat glands as they do not lose the water from their body. Camels can survive without water for many months or for a longer duration of period. As they live in the desert area, the water availability will be less, so they can survive without the water for longer duration of period. But when they come across the water bodies, they can usually drink high amount of water or large quantity of water, that is nearly 20 gallons of water at a time, not a liter or a half liter. The more we go liters, then apart from that we are having the next term called as a gallons means a very large quantity. So camels can intake nearly 20 gallons of water at a time. So in this way what happens, the temperature of the body of the camels remains in a constant way. As they do not have the sweat glands, they cannot lose their water from their body, and these animals can store large amount of water, and apart from that camels can drink nearly 20 gallons of water at a time. Now let us look at the images of different animals and all. So here you can see, as I had already said, that buffaloes try to cool themselves in the summer season by dipping their body in the water areas. So here you can see, here is a buffalo which is being surrounded completely with the surface of the water. So what it is doing now, the sun's radiations which are being absorbed by the body, it is starting to cool itself by dipping its body in the water area. And next one, yes, these are the different examples for the animals which live in the polar areas, means colder regions. What are the examples then? Walrus, seal, polar bear, Arctic fox, reindeer, moose, penguin, snowy owl, and Arctic dog. So all these are the different animals which can survive only in the polar regions. They cannot survive in the normal regions where we are able to survive. Means their body adaptation is different, and we also cannot go to the polar regions and survive for a longer period of time because our body is adjusted to the moderate amount of the temperature. So this is regarding the temperature part. Temperature, it is also an example for the abiotic component, means it does not have any form of life, but these abiotic components in all these various aspects, they try to interact with the living organisms. What are those abiotic components? Temperature, water, soil, air, light. So all these are the different kinds of the abiotic components that we had discussed till now. Then what is the next topic that we are going to discuss now? Yes, the next topic, it is the interaction in the environment. Then what is this interaction in the environment? The name itself indicates interaction, means interact together. Then what are the different components in the environment? Nothing but living things and as well as the non-living things. Plants and animals depend upon each other for their food. There are animals which eat the plants. Similarly, there are plants which eat the insects, nothing but the insectivorous plants. The animals eat plants and other animals eat these kind of animals, forming a chain-like connection. This is commonly called as a food chain. Yes, once I'll read the definition which is present on the slide for you. A food chain explains which organism eats another organism in the environment. The food chain is a linear sequence of organisms where nutrients and energy is transferred from one organism to the other. For example, plants are present and we are depending upon the plants for our food. means we are taking the plants either in the form of green leafy vegetables. So what happens then? Whatever the amount of minerals and nutrients were present in the plant body, part of that minerals and nutrients will be liberated, and apart from that, majority of them will be entered into our body. So this is an example for a food chain. And there are some organisms which eat ourselves, means humans, like lion, tiger. So in this way, what happens? A linear chain like reaction will be formed, where the food will be passed from one organism to the another organism. So this system, it is nothing but the food chain. In simple, we can say it as food chain is a process of eating and being eaten by other organisms. Now let us look at the examples for this. Yes, here you can see there are different kinds of food chains. Is the first one, it is a 3-linked food chain. The second, it is a 4-linked food chain, and next one, it is a 5-linked food chain. So first, let me start with the first kind of the food chain. So here you go. It is a plant, that is a corn plant. And this corn plant, we usually see the rats start to eat the corn plants. So here it is a rat. And the rat, again, it is being eaten up by one more organism, that is nothing but a owl. Yes, again you will try to remember owl. It is an example for a nocturnal animal, means it is active during the night time. So here it is an example for a 3-linked food chain. The first one, it is a corn plant. The second one, it is a rat, and the third one, it is a owl. Means corn plant will be eaten by the rat, and the rat, again, it will be consumed by the organism called as a owl. So this is a simple example for the food chain. And the next one, that is a 4-linked food chain. Then 4-linked food chain, it is a easier one. Carrots are present. Camels, they are nothing but the producers. Means the plant itself prepares the carrot. Carrots, again, they are eaten by the organism called as a rabbit. Rabbit, it is an example for a herbivorous animal. And rabbit, again, it is consumed by a wild animal called as a fox. And fox, again, it will be eaten up by one more organism, nothing but a lion. In this way, what happened? The food which is present in the rabbit has passed to the fox, and the fox, again, it is eaten by the lion. So in this way, the food is being passed from one organism to another organism, forming a food chain. And the next one, that is next example for the food chain, it is a 5-linked food chain. So here you can see the grass. Grass, again, it is an example for a producer. Grass, it is consumed by the grasshopper, grasshopper by the frog, and again, frog is eaten up by the python, snake, and snake, it will be eaten by the eagle. So it is an example for a 5-linked food chain. What are the 5 links here then? The first one, it is the grass. The first one, it is the grass. Next comes the grasshopper, frog, snake, and eagle. So total, how many components are present here? So there are totally 5 components: grass, grasshopper, frog, snake, and eagle. So in this way, it is an example for a 5-linked food chain. Again, these are classified, that is, again, these food chains, they are classified as aquatic food chains and also terrestrial food chains. Means the food chain which consists of the creatures which are present in the land, they constitute the terrestrial food chain. Now let us look at the examples for the terrestrial food chain. First we have come to the aquatic food chain. Okay, let me explain the aquatic food chain also. The food chain which consists of the aquatic creatures, it is commonly called as the aquatic food chain. So the first example for it, it is nothing but the algae. Algae, already I said, it is a producer, means it starts to prepare its own food with the help of the water and sunlight. It usually develops in the water which is stored for large number of days. In Kannada we call it as a pachi and all. So algae, it is eaten up by the mosquito larva. Mosquito larva means small egg-like substances. Mosquito larva, and again the mosquito larva, again they are eaten by the dragonfly larva. and again the dragonfly larva, they are consumed by the fish. So what happened here? Mosquito larva, the mosquitoes usually lays the eggs in the water surface, and the dragonfly larva, they also lay the eggs on the water surface, and fishes, they are present in the water. All these are the creatures which are present in the water. So it is an example for the aquatic food chain. And apart from that, the next example, it is a phytoplankton. What is this phytoplankton? Means phyto means which can prepare its own food, and plankton means an example for a plant which can prepare the food in the water area. So phytoplankton, again it is eaten by the zooplankton. Then what are these zooplanktons? They are heterotrophs, means they cannot prepare their own food and they consume the plants or animals as the food. So zooplanktons, they depend upon the phytoplanktons for their food. And again the zooplanktons, they are eaten up by the small fishes, and in turn the small fishes, again they are consumed by the large fishes. In this way, the food from the phytoplankton is being finally passed to the large fish, that it includes the aquatic food chain. So this is regarding the aquatic food chain, children. Then now let us go to the next slide then. Yes, here you can see the example for the aquatic food chain. So the first comes the phytoplankton. So these are the phytoplanktons. Phytoplanktons, again they are eaten by the shrimp. Shrimp, it is a small organism, and shrimp, again it is eaten up by the tuna fish by the dolphin, and again dolphin by the shark. In this way the food chain has been encircled. Next example for the aquatic food chain is phytoplanktons are present here. Greenish color plants, small green color dots you can see. Either it may include even the algae also. So the phytoplanktons are eaten up by the zooplanktons. Here you can see the zooplanktons. Then small fishes, mackerel, mahi fish, and the large shark. So this is the second example for the aquatic food chain. So all these are the different topics that we had learned today. Then with regarding to the aquatic food chain, all we had discussed it. Now try to find out some examples for the terrestrial food chain. Means the organisms which live in the land surface constitute the terrestrial components. In simple, I can say that I will be eating upon the plants for the food, and again I will be the source of food for the wild animals. So I had given one example for the terrestrial food chain. Wild animals, either it may be the lion, tiger. So similarly, try to find out more examples for the terrestrial food chain. Now let us summarize the topics what we had discussed now. We had discussed about the abiotic components, which include the temperature, then interaction in the environment, which includes the food chain, and different types of food chain. So all these are the different topics. In the next topic, it is an interesting one, that is mineral cycle. And apart from the mineral cycle, we also have the balance between the oxygen and carbon dioxide in nature. So all these topics we'll be discussing in the next session, children. Thank you. Have a nice day.